Around 40 years ago, the computer was a new concept, and businesses got very excited and bought computers to improve their businesses. They bought a computer to do their accounts, and one to do their payroll, and another for manufacturing and managing customers and sales and inventory, and so on. Before long, they realized that these systems had to talk to one another, and that made things very messy, very fast. Without a single integrated business system, they could not grow. They were on a path of increasing complexity, cost, and confusion. In short, something had to change. This is when SAP stepped in with its first fully integrated business system that joined all of these processes together, and business moved into a new phase of integrated computing. Now, 40 years later, SAP has more than 100,000 customers in almost every country in the world, covering 26 industries. We all know this story, and that could be a happy ending, but it isn't, because the world moves on. Back at the beginning, 30 years ago, SAP needed somewhere to store all of its customers' information, all of their business transactions, a big filing cabinet. For this, SAP's customers used the newly invented database. The world of online transaction processing, or OLTP, was born. This was a great way of storing vast amounts of transactions and still being able to find them quickly. However, in the early 1990s, a problem became apparent. Some businesses, like telecommunications companies, wanted to analyze their data to glean intelligence from it. For this, they needed to trawl through millions and millions of transactions to work out how to run their businesses more effectively. And when they tried to do this on the database, it died. It was never invented for analyzing large volumes of data. So a new fledgling industry was born in the 1990s called the data warehouse, a system that could analyze large quantities of data. The only issue was that you had to get the data there, which meant extracting it from the OLTP databases, transforming it into shape so that it was optimized for analysis, and then loading it into a new type of database optimized for online analytical processing, or OLAP, and performing the analysis in this new database. Whilst it was painful, expensive, and slow to achieve, the business gains of this newfound business intelligence were plain to see. Businesses quickly came to rely on the insight provided by business intelligence, or BI, and the technology world became split into the transactional world of OLTP and the analytical world of OLAP, with a gulf of pain, time, complexity, and cost in between the two. In parallel to the emergence of business intelligence, the world was changing fast. The internet exploded onto the scene, and social networks changed the way customers communicated, interacted, purchased. And now businesses needed to analyze even more data to understand their customers. Much more data. Big data quickly became the latest buzzword, describing the massive volume of data hitting businesses and the velocity at which the data was coming, and the variety of data formats. A perfect storm. The process of extracting data out of more and more transactional systems, transforming it and loading it into ever larger analytical systems, was becoming increasingly complex, increasingly slow, and increasingly expensive. Business intelligence was needed more than ever, was needed faster than ever, and yet the limitations of the database, based on 30-year-old technology, were making it increasingly difficult to extract that information and making IT systems increasingly complex and expensive. We were back in that world of complexity, cost, and pain. Another train crash about to happen. Something had to give. So, in the late 2000s, Hasso Plattner, the founder of SAP, got together with some students at Heidelberg University and they looked at the problem. Why couldn't the traditional OLTP database do analytics? And they found the answer, and the answer was that transactional databases store information on disk. The way computers worked back then, and still work today after 30 years, is by storing data onto a large set of cheap disks. When data has to be retrieved, it's looked up on disk, transferred to the computer's memory or RAM, and then the memory and the CPU, the brain of the computer, deliver the information back to the user. The issue is that communicating with the disk, where all the data is stored, is 100,000 times slower than communicating with the memory. That's quite literally the difference between the speed of a snail and the speed of an F-16 jet. Essentially, businesses had a snail problem. So the student said, why don't we just eliminate the disk access completely? Get rid of the snails. Just store all of the transactions directly in memory and operate at F-16 jet speed all the time. Then we can analyze instantly as much data as we want and get the answers in seconds, not days. 2 years later, in 2011, the first SAP HANA computer was launched. The database manufacturers said it would never work. In 2012, SAP released its entire suite of business applications for this new platform, a platform that uniquely combined the worlds of transactions and instant analytics onto one single simplified platform. Now, for the first time, a business could instantly analyze its transactional data using beautiful analytics dashboards that would have previously taken days or weeks to deliver. Now, just over a year later, more than 3,000 customers are using this new platform, and more than 1,000 customers have moved their entire suite of business applications onto this new in-memory platform. Why? Because with SAP HANA, our customers can embrace the new world with masses of data. It means they can embrace the world of instant real-time analytics. It means they can avoid the impending train crash of big data and move ahead once again. And more than anything else, it means that both SAP and its customers can innovate once again to deliver what businesses need and the world needs: simplicity, speed, ease of use. So an SAP customer today can choose to resist change and continue along the path of familiarity, the disk-based database, with all of its inherent problems, complexity, and cost. Or they can join SAP in embracing the future now, with beautiful analytical screens delivered to business users throughout the business in real time, seconds instead of hours and days, on-premise, or in the cloud, or both, and run better than ever before. This is SAP HANA. Simple, fast, and elegant. The new face of SAP.